The front lines have barely changed in 2023, but fighting remains fierce. The latest major flashpoint is the nearly besieged industrial city of Avdiivka, where Ukraine says it is repelling attacks. Despite Moscow insisting that its forces are making progress, President Vladimir Putin issued a decree on Friday that will increase troop levels by 15%. In recent days, improving weather conditions following devastating storms in southern Ukraine and Russia earlier this week have allowed Russian forces to intensify their attacks and use drones again. Russia has deployed troops and equipment to the war-torn city of Avdiivka in an attempt to encircle and capture the industrial hub. Fighters of the Ukrainian Armed Forces destroyed a 9A331 MU combat vehicle of the 9K331 MU Tor M12U anti-aircraft missile complex and a BM-21 Grad salvo rocket system of the Russian invaders with a kamikaze drone on a small section of one of the roads in the occupied territory of the Luhansk region. This was reported by the Telegram channel Russia No Context, which operates with video and photo materials from the invaders themselves. One of the intruders removed the aforementioned equipment while passing by. Russia No Context determines the exact geodetic coordinates. This place is 9 kilometers from the front line towards Kupiansk. The Ukrainian city of Avdiivka, which has been under constant attack from Russia, has seen fewer ground attacks in the past 24 hours due to heavy Russian losses and bad weather, the mayor said on Sunday. For nearly 2 months, Russia has been trying to capture Avdiivka, an industrial town near Donetsk that has been one of the most contested points on the front line. Russian troops are now to the east, north, and south of the city, which is largely in ruins, nearly surrounded but still served by asphalt roads. Ukraine said its troops held their ground and repelled the attack. Ukraine has launched an investigation into what it says was the execution by Russian forces of 2 unarmed Ukrainian soldiers who surrendered. The video shows the final moments of Ukrainian soldiers as they emerge from their trenches near the town of Avdiivka. One of them raised his hands in the air before both were shot at close range. The Ukrainian Telegram channel said the footage was filmed near the Ukrainian village of Stepov, which is on the outskirts of the city of Avdiivka in Donetsk. It did not specify when the recording was recorded, but said that the fighters were members of the country's 45th Rifle Battalion. Russian military command began a major offensive against Avdiivka in October and have been trying for nearly 2 months to encircle the city. So far, there has been no breakthrough, although many infantry troops and armored vehicles have suffered losses. General Oleksandr Tarnavsky said Russian forces had reduced the number of airstrikes against Ukraine, but were intensifying infantry activity in the region. Posting on Telegram, Tarnavsky said, "Invader infantry activity increased again in the operational zone of the Tavria Air Defense Force. 55 clashes took place." Ukrainian troops are actively taking advantage of existing problems within the Russian army. The biggest problem for the Russians was that conflict between the soldiers and their commanders began to escalate, and because a group of Russian soldiers refused to follow orders to attack Ukrainian positions on the islands, the rebellion had spread to other detachments operating along the island's riverbanks. Ukraine has struggled to retake territory from Russia this year, although it launched a counteroffensive in June after stockpiling Western weapons. As another difficult winter is expected, Ukraine is trying to avoid talk of exhaustion among its Western partners, fearing that aid will run out in the event of a prolonged stalemate. Meanwhile, 2 Chinese Desert Cross 1000-3 all-terrain vehicles used by the Russian invaders were destroyed by soldiers of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in a pine forest south of the partially liberated village of Kharkiv, on the left bank of the Dnieper in the Kherson region. This was reported by the Telegram channel Operative ZSU, by publishing a related video recorded by an interventionist who took a tour near the damaged cars and told that they were attacked by Baba Yaga, the ZSU drone bomber. Judging from the scattered rubbish, the invaders used Chinese all-terrain vehicles to transport supplies to forward positions. Currently, the fiercest clashes occur in the forest. Russian sources report that the Ukrainians strongly defended their positions, which is why their attempts to dislodge Ukrainian troops from the eastern bank of the river were unsuccessful. Russian aviation and artillery units continue to carry out heavy strikes in the region, but Russian drone footage confirms that Ukrainian Marines are carrying out offensive operations southwest of Kharkiv. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu was in an optimistic mood on Friday when he briefed Moscow's top military brass on the current situation on the front lines in Ukraine. Our soldiers acted competently and decisively, occupying more advantageous positions and expanding their zone of control in all directions, he said, although there is little evidence that this is true. In the Syvershkina and Sloboshanshkina sectors, Russia maintains a military presence in the border areas, carries out active subversive activities to prevent the transfer of Ukrainian troops in threatening directions, and increases the density of mines and explosive barriers along the state border in the Belgorod region. In the area of responsibility of the Khortytsia grouping of operational and strategic forces in the Kupiansk sector, Ukrainian defenders repulsed 8 enemy attacks near Sinkivka, Kharkiv region. At the same time, in the Melitopol sector, the Ukrainian Defense Forces continued to actively inflict manpower and equipment losses on the occupying forces, thereby exhausting the enemy on the entire front line.